All right. Welcome to the Catalyst Way, where we have conversations around unleashing the power of purpose and meaning to fuel transformative change in yourself and in others. Today, we're going to take it in a different direction. So every Tuesday morning, Ivor and I meet, and we were talking about all the different tools we use. And I shared with him an article I wrote last week on this thing. It's basically helping students create an aspirational identity before they start college in both undergraduate and graduate. So before you start college, you should know who you want to be and how you want others to see you, this aspirational identity thing. So I shared the article with Ivor this morning, and he read the article and he's like, I got to do that for church. We should be helping people identify this in church. So I want to focus my energy on helping students, faculty, and staff create aspirational identities in education. He really wants to do this work with churches. So we're actually going to talk about this process for him. And to be honest, so we've talked about this, I would bet, for about a year and a half. And the conversation has always been, why doesn't church work? Or what's wrong with church?
Yes.
So I'm going to let him describe why this drives him, and I'll ask questions or prompts, as we go along. But I really just want you to get some insights into what really drives him on a daily basis. And this thing, like every Tuesday, we've talked about this probably at least for a year. And I think today he'll also share why I think today is the day where it actually is clear for him. So why has this driven you so much? So,
I would
past-
say if I just create a little backstory for on a personal level, because I have been in church my entire life. I was born in church, I would say. My dad is a pastor, also an evangelist. So I have been in and around church day one and have also served in various capacities and roles within the church setting. So I do understand not just being a church member, but also serving inside of that community. Again, in many different positions. So it wasn't just one set thing that I was always doing. And fast forward to us having this conversation today, and a lot of what's been bubbling up has been understanding that Sunday after Sunday, we have so many people who walk through the church doors, sit down, and listen to what's being shared, get up and walk back out, and their life is pretty much the same. It hasn't changed. There hasn't been what we would call that marked progression. They still don't know what they are here to do and how they're supposed to do it. They ultimately do not know how they should completely serve God and serve man in their own specific role because they do not know what that role is. And as much as we've had this conversation about helping people on their path to purpose and meaning, and again, with this aspirational identity, it is how do we make sure that you are more than just a church member, that you're not just occupying a seat, that you're not just occupying a pew, that you just come in out of form and tradition, that you go because it's what your family's always done, you go because it's what you're supposed to do, but the connection really isn't made. So every other area of your life is affected because of it. So you're on a job that you don't like, and things at home are not the way they should be, and all your other relationships suffer and everything that you are doing is not being done to the best of your ability. You are not happy in the way that you should be. And all of it stems from the fact that you really aren't living with purpose. And like we touched on this morning, it's really you trying to live life purposeless, which you shouldn't do. And you can't do. Well, you do have a choice, but it's not really the one you should be taking. And I think we have this establishment that people walk into these buildings every Sunday morning. We're supposed to have the answer, and we're not delivering it. We're supposed to take charge of that, and for the most part, we don't. And lives are unchanged, and I think that's a big issue, and I see that as being something that, yeah, the church has gotten wrong, and it's been wrong for years. And it's the same person that we say we follow. If we look at what Jesus did, everything about him was about you knowing your purpose and living your purpose. So I'm just now really seeing the importance and the necessity of getting this message out, because if it continues along this same path, we'll still continue to fill buildings with people who don't know what to do, or we'll have people who just won't even walk inside the buildings because they know you're not going to help me figure out what I'm supposed to do.
So what do you do for a person who says, I know I'm supposed to be here to I get a job, make money, and support my family, and that's my purpose, and that's all I'm here to do. What would you say to that?
Ask me that question. I think I know where you're going, but could you ask me that question differently?
Or in so there's a lot of so when I think about purpose and find I don't really like saying finding your purpose because I think purpose is already in you. It's really
Yes, I
bringing it
agree.
out in you.
Right. You're born with it.
Right? You're born with it. It's already in you. You
Yes,
just haven't had the mechanisms or the tools or the resources to understand what it is.
correct.
So that would be the first part. So you've had situations where you've talked to people at your like your church, for example, where people have come up to you and go, they ask you what you do, and then there's like, oh gosh, I need your help. I don't know what this thing purpose is for me. Can you help me figure this thing out? So, how do you help people in that process? That's the first question.
Hmm?
And the second one is not necessarily a question, but there are churches and other places that, I mean, if you could tell me what's the theme of your church, the one you go to now, what's it's like live,
Love God, love people, live with purpose.
right? So live with purpose is the theme of this church. And my question is, are they actually helping people do that?
So now, it is when we talk about purpose, I think for a lot of people in church, what needs to be expressed is the understanding that it does not specifically mean that only if you are participating within church have you then found your purpose. So some people view that as, well, if I come to church and I am serving in a particular function within the church, then I have found what my purpose is. But for some people, your purpose may be in the marketplace, but that's still your purpose. Your purpose may be in education. That's still your purpose. So I think there needs to be a really clear understanding that if you are not ushering in the church, or if you are not teaching in the children's ministry at your church, does not mean that you have not found your purpose or you're not operating in purpose, because we need to have a conversation with you about what your purpose is, which goes back to what you and I have discussed before about using the tools and helping someone understand Why are you here? How are you going to engage in this church? And are we helping you with the manner in which you would like to engage? Because if you don't know who you are to begin with, then yes, I can slide you into any position and let you serve, but I don't know that that's necessarily going to be helpful in getting you to your purpose, other than you will do something that you think is good for you to do and then get caught in the dilemma of believing, okay, well, if I'm doing this and I'm serving, then surely I must be in my purpose. And that's not always the case.
So, so, so this is interesting. So you've been in the church your whole life.
Yes.
You served in various capacities. When did you really get clear about your purpose?
After serving in all of these different positions and still sitting down and looking at myself and saying, there's got to be more. This isn't it. I am still dissatisfied. Even though I've served in all of these roles and I have helped in all of these positions and done it with the servant's heart, it has still been that pull, that draw inside of me, that restlessness that says, I'm supposed to be doing more, but I just don't think it's more in this capacity. I don't think it's supposed to look like that, which is what led me down the rabbit trail to where I am now. And it's, well, if I don't know what I'm here to do, and I've been here in this organization, in this structure my entire life, how many people have been sitting here for 5, 10 years who are also in the same boat?
So the thing we talked about today was why church doesn't work. So what did you learn today that was different than what's been done in the past?
I think it doesn't work in the way that we have made the focus membership versus discipleship. And that's the issue, that we are bringing people in, but as fast as they come in the front door, they're going out the back door. And that is because what needs to be set in place, which is the discipleship portion, is what isn't being done because membership becomes more important. It's getting someone to come, it's bringing someone in versus helping you know what your purpose is, which is discipleship at its core. That's really what it's about. It's making sure you know your purpose. This is Jesus 101, and this is God, first two chapters of the Bible 101.
Can you expand on the discipleship a little more? Because I know when one of the activities I always do is this, who are the people on your boat and come up with three, and you're like, I can't pick three. I'm looking at 12.
Right,
So
right.
can you talk a little bit about that? Because that's always a funny conversation. So what is it about discipleship that really resonates with you personally?
All right, so I'll explain it this way. My question that I like to ask around this, and I've thrown this question your way as well. If I gave you 3.5 years with 12 individuals of your choosing, what would you do with them that over 2,000 years later would still be talking about you? And the weight of that question is discipleship in essence, right? There are 12 people that you get to choose. I'm not going to choose them. You get to pick them. You get 3.5 years to work with them. Now, what you do with them ends up being so profound that over 2,000 years later, we're still having a discussion about you. This is the story of Jesus. But the way he did it, to me, was just sheer genius. So he had his closest disciples, which were Peter, James, and John. Those three hung out with him all the time. So he invested heavily in three. Now he influenced the other nine. That's the 12. Now he had 70 other disciples that he sent out. So he impacted 70 and then he transformed the world. And that's how it works. So very similar to you and I doing workshops, right? When it's not about I'm trying to change 3,000 people all at once. No, a handful of people come together, and the more they hang around and the closer they get, those are the ones who we end up investing heavily in, which is the way this is supposed to work. So we think about discipleship, and it's not, I need you to go touch 150 people. No, go find three and invest heavily in them. But to do that and to help them be a disciple, you need to be one yourself, which is why what we do works because we share the workshop material, but unless you're a disciple of it, it loses its impact and effectiveness when you try to transfer it to someone else.
So here is the interesting question from all this is, so we're putting together this video. What do you hope to achieve, or what do you hope to influence, or what do you hope to get by sharing this thought? Because you've been pondering this for a long time, but today's different. Like today is different than the other, many, many conversations we've had in the past. What was it about today that said, you know what? It's time for me to do this?
It's probably because today, after reading part of the article that you wrote and then going through our conversation, it today brought it to the point where it actually now feels like a burden to me. And I mean that in a really good way. But it feels like a burden that now I I have to do it. I'm compelled to. It's I can't let it go. And I would be doing wrong if I didn't do it. That's the kind of weight that it holds now. And that's what shifted this morning. So now I have to share it. And I know that there are others out there who feel the same way. They just need to know that their sentiments are absolutely right, that they're sitting in church every Sunday and they're trying to figure out what's going on. There's nothing wrong with you. I'm sitting here and I know I'm supposed to do more. There's nothing wrong with you. Everyone is not going to stand up in the pulpit every Sunday. Don't worry about it. You're not supposed to, but you do have a purpose. You do have a reason for being here. And your reason for being here does include you being a disciple. And the only reason you're going to be a disciple is so you can make disciples. That's the primary purpose behind it in the first place. So it calls everyone to be in a place where, yes, I need you to know exactly why you are here so you can walk that out and then show someone else how they can do the same thing.
So one last question. And then I'll stop
Sure.
I'll stop messing with you. So now that you know this and you're clear about fulfilling the, I mean, taking care of this burden in a positive way, what do you do now?
I think now it becomes looking for all of those avenues, those ways, like what we're doing now to share the message, right? To get this out so that others hear what this is truly all about. It's really now just spreading this as much as possible, as often as possible to anyone within the environment that's willing to listen.
One church at a time, of course.
Absolutely. Yes.
Because, like you said,
Yes.
you can't do everything all at once,
Right.
one at a time.
Yes.
So are this is going to be, I mean, are you excited about clarity and direction now with this?
Always, especially because as time goes on, it becomes even more and more refined, which I think is great. It's it's not that you didn't see the target before, but now the pinpoint accuracy just makes it a lot more fun. Playing with the clear lines.
So, and I'll be honest, when we were talking about this morning, I could see almost like a switch go off, especially when we were talking about, what if you created an article and you were able to put this out in the world, or, we let's create a video and put it out in the world. So it's interesting to see how you've evolved even from before we met this morning to now, and to see this change. It's remarkable, um, and exciting and entertaining to see this and to see where it goes. So I think you're ready.
Thank you, sir. It's been a journey, but I'm enjoying it.
Yes. So when do we see the article?
It won't take long, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yes.
because now you have to write
Yes.
about it.
Yes.
We
That one
need
is
video
coming.
on it. Go ahead. What was that?
That one is coming. It is
Yeah.
in the works. Yes.
So now it's like you've done all this. Now we got to see an article. We got to see some writing about this. Um, but it'll be fun to see how this pans out for you, for us, for you, for the work. And I look forward to helping in any way I can on you on this journey. So,
Thank you.
yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything else for the good before we close out today?
Hey, that's it. Thank you for, yeah, just facilitating this conversation. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, we'll try to do another one. I mean, at some point, we're going to have to talk about some other topics that's been pushed back, like the book.
Yes.
Maybe we'll do that next time. Uh,
Yes.
so thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to another episode coming soon. Have a great day.
Bye for now.